Hello everyone. This is our 22nd class on income tax for BCom 5th semester students. And in today's class, we are going to solve one problem on incidence of tax and residential status. Today's problem is very simple. Therefore, I request all the students to note down the sum and try to solve it on your own. In case you find any difficulty, you watch full video and you can learn the same. So first I request you to note down there are only 5 incomes given in the sum. Try to solve it on your own and later you watch the full video and check if you have solved it correct or no. It can be practice for you because so far we have solved 3 problems on incidence of tax and residential status. Let us start solving the sum. The question goes as the following are the incomes of Mr. Babu for the previous year 2019-20 and the first information provided to us is income from agriculture in Ceylon rupees 30,000. Second, income from business carried on in Belgaum rupees 12,000. Next, salary income received in Hubli but the services were rendered in London rupees 10,000. Dividend from an Indian company 2,000. Income earned and received in Germany and deposited in a bank there only rupees 6,000 and you are asked to compute his gross total income if he is ordinary resident, not ordinary resident and non-resident. As I have mentioned in the previous problems also, before we solve any sum, first we should understand the problem. And whenever you are reading the sum, simultaneously make sure that you mark here. That is, the first one, income from agriculture in Ceylon rupees 30,000. This is what? This is a foreign income. Foreign income is taxable only to ordinary resident. Therefore, here itself somewhere you make the marking that it is a foreign income and should be taken only in one column. Similarly, for second one, income from business carried on in Belgaum. Income from business, where is it carried on? In Belgaum, in India. Therefore, it is an Indian income taxable to ordinary resident, not ordinary resident as well as non-resident. Therefore, for second point, here you make the marking that it is Indian income and taxable in 3 columns. Same way, third one, salary income received in Hubli but the services were rendered in London. Here you are given 2 parts, that is salary income received in Hubli but the services were rendered in foreign country. Whenever Indian income as well as foreign services or combination of India as well as foreign is given, just check out is it received in India or whether the base of the income is in India. If it is so, consider that point as Indian income and ignore rest of the part. That means salary income received in Hubli means any income received in Hubli is Indian income. Ignore the part that is services were rendered in London. You can ignore this part. Therefore, third one is to be considered as Indian income and taxable to ordinary resident, not ordinary resident and non-resident. Fourth, dividend from an Indian company rupees 2,000. Dividend from Indian company is exempted from tax. Therefore, we are taking it in third category of income, that is exempted incomes. Fifth and the last one, income earned and received in Germany and deposited in a bank there only. Here the income is earned in Germany, received in Germany, deposited in a bank in Germany itself Therefore, this is completely a foreign income, and foreign income is taxed only in one hand. There is one more income that I have added here, that is sixth point, income from business in USA but controlled from India, and that amounts to rupees 14,000. By mistake I had skipped this point. I have added it now. Income from business in USA but controlled from India is rupees 14,000. This income from business in USA is a foreign income, but as it is controlled from India, it is taxable to ordinary resident as well as not ordinary resident. So in two columns we are taking income of rupees 14,000. Now let us find out the gross total income of Mr. Babu for the assessment year 2021. As you all know, we are making 4 columns. First column is income of Mr. Babu. Second column, what will be his gross total income if he is ordinary resident. Second, what will be his gross total income if he is not ordinary resident, and what if he is non-resident. Let us now solve the sum. When we are solving it, we have to make 4 partitions of income. One is Indian income, second foreign income, third exempted income, and fourth is past untaxed income brought into India in the previous year. As I told you, we should first make markings in the questions. That becomes very much easier for us to solve any kind of problem. So make sure you are marking first here and then you are solving it. So after marking, we get to know the first Indian income given in the sum is income from business carried on in Belgaum. So we are taking this amount, that is income from business in Belgaum, which amounts to rupees 12,000. As it is in Indian income, it is taken in all the 3 columns, or it is taxable to all the 3 residential status, that is ordinary, not ordinary and non-resident. Next is salary income received in Hubli but services were rendered in London. Any income that is received in India is Indian income. Therefore, salary income received in Hubli, that is in India, we consider it as Indian income, and 10,000 rupees we take it in all the 3 columns. Let us take that amount of rupees 10,000 10,000 and 10,000 in all the 3 columns. Once we are done this, just check if there are any other Indian incomes. There were only 2 Indian incomes given in the sum, which we have taken it. Coming to the next part, foreign income. When we are solving the sum, do not go as per the question given, but go as per the format that we have learned. First comes Indian income, then foreign income. In foreign income also, first those income which can be taxed to ordinary resident as well as not ordinary resident, and then the incomes which are taxable only to ordinary resident, that is in 1 column. So first we are taking the income which can be taxed in 2 columns. And which is the income that can be taxed in 2 columns? Sixth point you check, income from business in USA but controlled from India. Any business income which is earned in foreign country but the business is controlled or managed from India is a foreign income which is taxed in 2 columns, and amount of the same is 14,000. We are taking it only in two columns, that is ordinary resident and not ordinary resident. Coming to next, foreign income which is taxed only in one column. We have check out first point, that is income from agriculture in Ceylon. So income from agriculture in Ceylon is taxed only in one hand. Instead of Ceylon, if you are given income from agriculture in Bangalore, what happens? We consider it as Indian income and Indian incomes are exempted from tax. This is agriculture income, true, but it is earned from foreign country. That is why it is taxed in foreign income only in one hand, that is ordinary resident. If agriculture income somewhere situated in India is given to you, we should consider it as an exempted income. So what is the income from agriculture in Ceylon? It is 30,000. We are taking amount 30,000 only in one column, that is in ordinary resident column, as it is purely a foreign income. Coming to next, income earned and received in Germany. Fifth point, income earned and received in Germany and deposited in a bank there only amounts to rupees 6,000, which is purely a foreign income taken only in one column, that is to ordinarily resident. It amounts to rupees 6,000, take it only in one column. Now, we are done with all the foreign incomes. Now check out, are there any exempted income given in the sum? Yes, that is dividend from an Indian company. Dividend from an Indian company is exempted from tax. Therefore, dividend from Indian company amounts to rupees 2,000, but amount is irrelevant to us because it is exempted from tax and we are not at all considering that amount in any of the column when we are computing it. So I am just writing the amounts blank as we are not considering while computing total income. I hope you have understood this. Dividend from Indian company is an exempted income. And last point, past untaxed foreign income brought into India in the previous year, no information given in the sum. Even if the information is given in the sum, we do not take any amount while computing gross total income. Even that becomes nil. So this is the standard format. Even if you are given those points or not, you have to just mention it in the sum or in the solution, but leave the amounts blank. Now we have to total ordinary resident column, not ordinary resident column and non-resident column. That we get as our gross total income for each respective residential status. So for ordinarily resident, we get gross total income as 72,000 rupees. And for not ordinarily resident, you get 36,000 and for non-resident, we get 22,000. I hope you have understood it. There is one more important thing you need to do when you are solving the sum is write important note if you find it in the sum. Here you are given dividend from Indian company in the sum, but we have not written any amount over here, that is an amount column. The reason is because it is exempted income. So if you find any such important points in the sum, just mention it after you solve it. That is, in the form of notes, you have to highlight those points. So how can you write the note for the same? Dividend from Indian company. Dividend from an Indian company is exempted from tax. Therefore, we have not taken that. Suppose you are given past untaxed foreign income also in the sum and you do not write any amount over there, that time also you have to make a next note saying that past untaxed foreign income is not charged to tax under computation of residential status. So even that note you can write, but here no past untaxed foreign income is given to us. This is our solution. I hope you have understood the sum. Repeatedly I tell you, while reading the sum itself, you do the marking whether the income belongs to all the three residential status, that is all the 3 column, 2 column or 1 column. That means whether it is Indian income, foreign income, exempted or past untaxed income, just make the marking there. It becomes very much easier for you while solving the problem, and also it helps you to understand how many lines to leave for Indian income, how many lines to be left for foreign income, exempted and past untaxed foreign income. Next class we'll solve one more sum on the same, that is incidence of tax and residential status. Your first internal online exams are near, so I request all of you to go through all the classes or the notes that you have taken during the classes, because the exam test is based on first and second unit.